Alright, this is one of my orchestral pieces from start to finish, how it happens. I started off just like this, just some blank MIDI tracks, no instrument on it, and some ideas. So then I used these ideas to come up with this. And at the time, I didn't know this was ultimately going to be for a real group, so I wrote the whole thing out just in a piano roll with virtual instruments, mostly Spitfire stuff, inside of Ableton. Then when I did get the call that the real group thing was going to happen, I had to turn this into a real score. And you know, here's that same moment that you could hear it. And I couldn't do this for all the movements, but thankfully in this case, to save some time, what I was actually able to set up was I was able to output the aggregate MIDI from Ableton into Dorico and record it there. So I was like dubbing the MIDI from one place to the other. And that was able to get me close enough that the MIDI wasn't too crazy to clean up and I could just kind of modify it to turn it into a playable part. I wasn't able to do this with the other movements, and when I make videos about them, I'll explain what the problems were there that I had to solve. But for this one, we kind of lucked out. And finally, here's the fun part. Here's a clip of the real group playing this. Alright, that's just a little taste, but if you want to see the full thing, go look up Life So Simple From Birth to Death on YouTube. You're going to find it on the Unit 7 Noise YouTube channel. This is Michael Fulmer Hansen, who is my collaborator on this whole project. And before I go, I'll just share one thing I learned from doing this kind of composition, and that's if you're going to do something that's even a little bit complicated to unravel for the musician, write it out as simply as you can. Because it's only going to help if you can put it in a simple way that gets things to come together quickly in rehearsal. It does not help to write a fancy, flowery score that takes them more time to figure out when rehearsal time is very limited. I did a pretty good job at this for the most part in showing where some of the rhythmic stuff had to be, but here's an example of where I stepped in a little bit and I would have done things differently. Right here, this 4/3 moment, I would have just written this out in terms of 16th notes, not with this tuplet thing, because it just doesn't show where to place things very well, and it was a little bit of an issue in rehearsal getting the violas to place this correctly. That's my fault though. And of course, if you're interested in working with me, learning from me, whether it's bass stuff or composition, just use my profile link and book a lesson there. Thanks.